I mean, might as well just record it, just in case there's like something hilariously shitty in here.
I'm joined by Stefan Molyneux, host of Freedom Main Radio, and a man who spends his time terrorizing left wingers with pertinent questions and uncomfortable observations.
He's also somebody who likes to leave comments on his own videos posing as an attractive young girl who just thinks, wow, you're so smart, Mr. Molyneux.
He's generated quite an interesting following and reputation because of it. And he's often maligned very unfairly, in the same way I am, in fact, because he entertains questions that are difficult to answer and things that are uncomfortable in many different circumstances. Stefan, how are you?
I'm well, Carl.
Good.
I'm very well. It's an exciting time to be around. It's a great time to be a thinker, and it's one of these great tragedies of having been right for so long, warning people about communism, warning people about China and the great unmarked predator that's prowling the world these days. And being a philosopher is like being an oncologist. You always hate being right. Like, oh, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. Got to watch out for this stuff. And it was like, oh, you're crazy. My TV is very cheap, and that's all that I need in the world.
Yeah,
And now that, of course, things have come to pass, that this open borders, this offshoring of manufacturing, particularly the old healthcare manufacturing, which seems a little bit more important than a cheap plasma TV, has all come to pass, and it's all very bad. I guess if I was a slightly more petty person, like maybe 1%, I'd be like, in your face, world, I told you so, you didn't listen, too bad for you. But fortunately, I'm above all of that. So, yeah, things are good.
I'm above all of that. Okay, all right. This is going to be doubly fun to watch because this is 3 months before Molyneux got yeeted off of YouTube,
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. You and Alex Jones seem to have the curse of Cassandra, where you keep saying things, but no one believes you, and then something happens, and everyone goes, "Well, I hate that guy, so I don't want to admit he was right." Right. So let's talk about eggs. Let's begin with the thorny contention of eggs.
Oh, boy.
Could you explain to me the meme that is the empty egg box?
Before he gets into this, too, I mean, can we just all agree that if your job is YouTube, but you say that your profession is a philosopher, you absolutely got shoved into a locker in high school, and then never grew as a person. Instead of just developing your own nerd-like identity and finding hobbies and friends that you eventually kind of overcame, instead it sat and it festered and it grew like a fucking cancer inside of you until you became one of these fucking nerds. All right? I think we can all accept that. No, don't let your kids grow up to think that they're philosophers. All right? Don't do it.
Box, please.
Well, sure. I mean, I've been talking about this for years, but I guess I kind of hooked into a particular item on the menu known as Taylor Swift.
Oh,
So I guess it's like a lot of people, myself included, you will mark time a little bit by celebrities. Like just a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I remember, of course, being older, that Taylor Swift came along like this fresh-faced cherub in her teens and seemed to have the entire world ahead of her and so on. And, like Sting goes bald and Taylor Swift almost turns 30. And it just kind of struck me. Like I watched a couple of her videos. My daughter liked her songs when she was younger. And I was thinking, oh, she's turning 30. Seems like a nice Christian girl. I mean, I know she's gone a little bit feminist and globalist lately, but, seemed like a nice girl, not great at choosing men and all that. But, she's young and famous. And I thought, gosh, she's smart, she's talented, she's pretty. And, it'd be a shame to let all of that go down the swirling drain soup of history with nothing to show for it. And I was like, So I put out this.
What? What the fuck? Hey, okay. Like, I know he's about to say something even more creepy, but I'm just gonna put this out there. If you're a grown-ass man and you're watching, you're consuming a bit of media, and you're looking at some girl who starts out first coming around to your view as a teen, and then you watch her age, and then you're seriously thinking it's your business to concern yourself with what she does with her reproductive organs, you're a fucking creep. You are a fucking creep. You're a fucking weirdo. But that's all you're going to have. It's all going to go down the drain with nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it? Taylor Swift is massively fucking popular. She's made songs that are very likely to be timeless. She is going to have a legacy that's going to last far, far longer than these two fucking dorks. What? Nothing to show for it.
This tweet, which was, wow, Taylor Swift is turning 30. You know, by the time you're 30, 90% of your eggs are dead. I hope she thinks about having kids. I think she'd be a fun mom. Now, that's it. Now,
and what happened to that?
That's creepy. That's fucking creepy. What the fuck, dude? And also, 90% of your eggs are gone. Who cares? That's not how reproduction works. It's not like, oh no, now I have only a 10% chance to get pregnant. That's not how it works. Not only are you a creepy piece of shit, you don't fundamentally understand how reproduction works, apparently, which is also even more fucking creepy.
Well, apparently, can I give you a sort of imitation of how I came across the people?
Please.
All right. Ladies, you must all be herded into the vat of the fertile women, and you will be impregnated by right-wing Nazis against your will no matter what, and you will have no way of escaping this, and you will breed the master race no matter what. Right.
That's nobody said that. Nobody even made jokes quite like that. And if they did, they were specifically to be hyperbolic and hilarious, because that's not how people actually talk. No. Sorry. Like, you're so fucking out of touch, you don't even understand that the hyperbole is not hyperbole? What the fuck? What the fuck? What kind of cringe boomer shit is this?
I'm looking forward to that being clipped out of context.
Yeah, that is going to be clipped out of context for sure. But hey, you know, there's no such thing as bad publicity. I don't care what you say about me. Just please try and spell my name right.
Hey, I have more subscribers than you now, Stefan Molyneux.
But no, so this is how I came across, you know, just saying, yeah, this is a biological fact. 90% of a woman's eggs are gone.
That doesn't mean anything.
By the time she's 30, and it's 98% by the time she's 40. Yeah, these are just facts.
Jesus Christ, you're a fucking idiot.
It is facts that put a chill hand of mortality, I guess, up a woman's nether regions and make her realize that maybe she just shouldn't be spending her entire fertile years chasing alpha bad boys and then ending up falling into the cliff of infertility.
See, it's not that she's a very successful recording artist. It's not that she's been working on a career and producing entertainment and culture and music for people. No. What she's doing is she's chasing alpha badasses. That's what she's all been doing. All the rest of that's inconsequential. It doesn't actually mean anything. She's been chasing alpha badasses. Like, what the fuck? How in the fuck does anybody actually listen to Stefan Molyneux and not immediately have, like, a vomit impulse? Because this is so incredibly stupid. How does this make sense to anybody? Like, if I huffed spray paint right now, maybe this would make sense. Maybe.
And this is just a reminder, and, you know, we get reminders all the time as men. You get creaky, you get old, and I guess the reminders for women are just somehow beyond the pale of the social contract.
Yeah, I find that this is something I've kind of struck on myself recently as well, because I was just thinking about the idea of duty, like secular, from a secular position.
Here we go.
I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, but I don't hate religion and I don't hate religious people, and I've never been religious, so I don't have any animus against the concept of God. And I was thinking about the sort of pre-Enlightenment West, the groundwork that was set for the West, was founded on Christian morality, so universal morality in which a person had innate value, and you had duties that were God-given in certain respects, and these were, you know, to have a family, get married, procreate, raise good children, you know, be good Christians. And it seems to me that since the Enlightenment, we can see, and since, in fact, women's liberation, since the ability of women to control their own fertility, it seems that a drastic number of women are actually choosing not to have children. And that seems to be something of an issue, because...
Okay, let me try and translate what fucking Carl just said here. It seems to me that since the Enlightenment, I mean, actually, since women's liberation, and this is a quote, since women are in charge of their own reproductive choices, women have been choosing wrong. Fucking what? Fucking, what are you even saying, dude? Are you fucking for real? Holy shit. Well, see, listen, ladies. This ravishing man with the gray in his beard, who's obviously a philosopher king, knows what you should be doing with your reproductive choices more than you. Fucking God. Kill me.
It's causing population decline. And the longer this goes on for, what I think will eventually happen, assuming we don't get subsumed by immigrants, which is also something that could happen, but we'll end up essentially hollowing out our societies. So in like 50 or 100 years' time, we could have just empty buildings, just entire cities that are just empty because there just hasn't been the population replacement to fill those.
No. We're gonna replace that with immigrants. That's the big neo-Marxist, post-modernist, blah blah, whatever stupid buzzwords you're using for your conspiracy theory this week. That's remember. Well, it's all about propaganda, control, and eugenics. We're trying to keep the white women from breeding so we can replace them with brown women, brown children, and black children. See, that's what it. I hope to fuck that's not what you're about to say. I hope to fuck that's not where this is gonna go, and you're just actually like fantasy theorizing that we're gonna have empty fucking cities. What the fuck?
Cities and fill those buildings, fill those houses. And that strikes me as a kind of dangerous thing to happen, because I think it would desperately weaken the West's position in the world generally, because other countries aren't necessarily following this model. And so it strikes me that we might have a duty to Western civilization to at least do something to continue it. And I think that procreation is one of those things.
So what you're trying to say is that we need to breed to save the West. We need to increase our population by breeding to make more human beings to save the West. The West. Whatever the West means these days, okay? Okay. Because I want to know... I want to know that I'm accurately representing his argument here.
I mean, and I don't want to before I finish like this little setup. I'm not saying that only women or only men have duties, but I think they both have duties, and I think you can put this in a traditional framework. You can just say, well, men have a duty to defend the country. So if the Germans invade, well, yeah, you have a duty to sign up and go to war, and women also have a duty to have children, do they not, by the same time?
No, they don't have a duty to have children. Are you fucking crazy? No. Look, there's a reason why we don't have the draft anymore. We don't have the draft because it was a really bad fucking idea. It wasn't a good idea. It was a bad idea. It's a bad idea that's only born out of desperation. And sure, in desperate times, people might take desperate measures. Sure. But the simple fact of the matter is that if you truly are in the boat of individualism, then the idea of trying to make compulsory behavior, ones that will actually definitively change your entire life for the rest of your life, you are abandoning your principles 100%. There's no way around it. It's not like you can be like, oh, well, I had a kid, YOLO, guess I'm done, back to doing whatever else I wanted to do. No, you commit. You actually have to commit. And if you believe in traditional family like you claim you do, that's two people then. That now, regardless of whether or not that is something that they specifically are seeking out to do, or if they're ready to do it, you believe that they should. Or have to. It's duty. And this duty, again, I want to emphasize this. This is all born out of Carl understanding these things from a historical lens rooted in religiosity. Okay? Like this is atheist YouTuber, individualist Carl utilizing the social hierarchies of Christianity, historical Christianity, to compel people into choices out of duty, not out of their own individual choices. Just putting that out there.
Token to make sure there is a country to defend. And this, I mean, and I just, for anyone listening, both myself and Stefan are definitely on the libertarian axis when it comes to government power. I'm a staunch constitutionalist, and I know that you go further in that regard as well. So the idea is not let's make, like you said, force someone to do something or something like that. The idea is, if we are free agents in a liberal society, then the more freedom we have, surely the more responsibility we have to take on, the more personal responsibility we have to take on.
So you can have your freedom, but that freedom comes at the cost of you needing to make choices that we think you should make. Excuse me? And this is one of the reasons why you always run into these really, really fucking weird traps when you have right-wing libertarians. Because inherently...
Yo, Jeff, I just turned 22, woo.
Woo! Happy birthday, what's up? This is one of the reasons why I have to reiterate it again, that libertarianism is originally, and has its origins in, left-wing ideology, because it's more compatible with left-wing ideology, not right-wing ideology. Sorry. But I forgot. This is classically liberal, Sargon of Akkad. Yes.
That's the price of freedom. And that
Price
seems
of
to be
freedom.
something that is really despised by the left-wing activists I was talking to. And it really upsets a few people that I was like, well, I mean, we can't put the duty of having children on the men. So do women, and we can see that women aren't having enough children to...
Wait. So the whole aspect of creating more human beings solely falls onto the women. It solely falls onto the women. So what, the men are just going to like fuck off and go work and not have any business in their children's lives? Isn't it you guys that say, and I think, and I do think quite accurately, that a concentrated home where both parents have some degree of hands-on activity with the development of the child increases the child's ability to then succeed further on in life? Aren't you guys the ones who say that? I mean, I agree with you. But if you're just saying like, well, it's really just on to the women now, isn't it? No. And that's one of the reasons why we should be instead trying to encourage things like family planning, where people are going to make these choices when they're ready to make them, with the best tools possible to them, the best support possible to them, making sure that they aren't jumping into a relationship that they're not ready for. They don't get trapped into a relationship by accidentally having unwanted pregnancies. That's how we actually help these types of things, not, well, we should compel them because of a sense of duty, because we don't want the West to lose against the East or something. China. Communism.
Sustain a population. So do we need to have a conversation about it? And of course, I was called a Nazi. So what are your thoughts on that? That seems to dovetail into the question of fertility and age.
Well, I don't think that you could really sell parenthood as a duty, because, man, that's a long duty. You're a dad too, right? I mean,
I am, yeah.
Human beings grow up extraordinarily slow. It really is like watching a stalagmite mount itself up towards the sky, watching kids grow up. And my daughter is just turned 11 last year.
That poor girl.
And it's a great thing. It's a long haul though, man. Especially being a stay-at-home dad, working from home, and so on. So there's a big picture view of all of this, and it comes out of this thing, this belief, this thing. Look at me being all technical. It comes out of this belief that if you're successful, you've exploited others. I know this sounds like a bit of a stretch, but bear with me. I'll sort of drop the breadcrumbs as a whole. But
yeah.
So if you're successful, you must have exploited someone. It's the fixed pie thing, like if you have more, It must be that I have less. This idea that you can create out of nothing is kind of funny, because atheists believe, and it comes a lot out of the left, it comes out of a lot of the sort of communist atheist axis, which I know is not, I'm an atheist too, so it's not all atheists and all that, but it's funny because atheists believe that something can come out of nothing, like the universe, but they don't believe that wealth can come out of nothing, called human ingenuity and productivity and free.
What the fuck kind of argument is that? What in the fuck kind of argument is that? Is that what you actually fundamentally understand about the Big Bang? Is that everything just came out of fucking nothing? Oh, they just fuck. What? That isn't even an accurate. Like, how can you be a grown man? Not even like a YouTuber or a scientist or anything else like that. How can you be anybody who even has the barest interest in astronomy not know one of the most basic fundamentals of the Big Bang? We don't know what was before because we can't see past that. We have a way of measuring the expansion of the universe so that we can work backwards to a specific point. And it's not even all the way down to, like, the Big Bang. What came before it? We don't know. Was it nothing? No, you idiot. Who in the fuck actually thinks it was just nothing? Nobody thinks that. What kind of a fucking moron even claims that? Like, I'm sorry, maybe, like, for anybody who might be watching this, and they're just like, well, I don't know why Jeff's so pissed off about it. Like, seriously, if you you have the barest functional understanding of how astronomy works, like, that is just so mind-numbingly stupid. Holy shit! And I don't even know what they mean by, like, something can't come from nothing.
Free trade and free
can
markets.
Can I just sorry to interrupt so soon
it's fine,
into your
it's
talk,
fine.
but
It's a conversation.
I just want to say I came out of the left philosophically, politically, and I recall very distinctly about 5 or 6 years ago, I had the impression that wealth was a fixed amount. And it didn't. I mean, all it took was one libertarian asking me, "Well, how did we get to this point? If it's a fixed amount?" And then I suddenly it all clicked. Of course, we create wealth through our labor and through our productivity. And so it is very much a left-wing assumption that the amount of wealth we have is fixed and we should redistribute it so it's fair, not that we should create more so we're all more prosperous.
How in the fuck can you be like, well, I really didn't think I understood economics because I thought that there was only so much wealth. Nobody thinks that. I don't think I've ever run into anybody who's ever thought that there is a finite amount of money. Does anybody actually fucking think that? Does anybody actually think that? Like, chat? How many people are watching right now? We got like 54 people watching live when I'm recording this. Did anybody, even when you were like a little kid, did anybody ever think, like, there's only so much money. There's only so much money, and then you don't get any more. That's the only money we get. And then it has to, like, we got to divvy it up? I don't fucking think so. But also then this idea that, well, economics is just wealth made from labor, that's not even how economics works either. That doesn't, what the fuck? That's not how it works. That's not how any of it works. Economic theory is so vastly more fucking complicated than just that. And this, like, watering down to, like, a fucking preschool level understanding that it's just, our labor makes wealth. No, it's not. Holy shit. People actually get dumber by listening to you. What the fuck, dude?
But sorry, again, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I just had a very...
You interrupted
very,
with actually making the conversation dumber.
In that regard,
it's not an interruption if it's a conversation. So
he interrupted and actually said something functionally fucking dumber than Molyneux was saying. What the fuck?
Please feel free to, we go back and forth on this, right? Sure. So, if success and wealth is always the result of exploitation, then the question is, why is it that Western, white, Christian nations became so wealthy so early? It was kind of like a one-sided thing in history as a whole. And so if you believe that all...
First of all, the Golden Age of Islam showed Middle Eastern countries getting far, far wealthier way earlier, too. I mean, like, if you narrow the concept of what you're talking about to only, like, this contemporary section of history that also coincides around the same time as expansionist colonialist Britain, then yeah, okay, good fucking point. But the only reason why you would want to narrow it down to that is you're trying to make an argument that these ones in specific are different and are better than the ones that came before it. Now, there is one thing in very specific that he mentions when he describes that. When he's saying, like, this blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, 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 how come they did so well? What's the one thing? What's that one word that he added in there that is different from all the other empires that did fantastically well, including China and Middle East? What was that one word? Chat, do you guys remember what that fucking word was? What was that word? Man, gosh, I really wish I could just remember what that fucking word was. White. Now, I'm not bringing this up because I am trying to say that like he's specifically saying something racist. I am saying that it does seem, by the pattern, by what he's saying, that he seems to think that there's something about white, which is why they were successful. Maybe, oh, yep, he did say Christian. So maybe he thinks it's a combination. Maybe you, like, put a little white, a little bit of Christ, mix them up, success. I don't know, maybe.
Wealth is the result of exploitation. Then what happens is you look at sort of 17th, 18th century agricultural revolution, 18th, 19th century industrial revolution, and sort of 20th century manufacturing and information revolution. You say, man, boy, did Western countries ever get wealthy over this couple of 100-year period. And because you're a fixed by thinker or non-thinker, so to speak, what you can only assume is colonialism robbed all of the wealth from everyone else. So you end up with this virulent hatred of, you know, of whites, of Western civilization.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, his claim is not that those resources bolstered those white Christian nations. That's not what he's arguing. He's arguing that people say it works that way because the whites took the opportunity away from others. It's an interesting way to look at it, and you have to analyze the way Molyneux speaks, because otherwise you'll miss it. He's not. He is very specifically trying to paint the opposition to this as people who think, who frame it as whites take, not the whites enhance themselves with their colonial takings, which is very, very likely. So I mean, like, and that's the thing that's really, it's a very snaky way to kind of like make it seem like people are only saying this because they're racist against white people, and that's not why. That's not why. Like, accepting the fact that, you know, the British Empire, for example, through the suppression of the Indian people and the people of Hong Kong, and many, 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 many more all over the fucking world, saying that they got a massive boost in development because of the things that they then had access to, including multiculturalism, strangely enough, but they don't mention that. There's nothing racist about saying that. It's just the truth. And it's not a condemnation of white people to say that. It's just the truth. It just is what it is. History itself, like recounting these types of things, does not necessarily make you condemning white people. It just means that you're accurately representing what fucking happened. Did ever get selling opium to China? Oh man, dude, that's a whole nother stream, my dude.
Of the free market, because the free market kind of goes against your whole thesis, because it's productivity, not transfer, not theft. And I literally have had people on my timeline in Twitter say to me that the only way that England became wealthy as the result of the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, was because it stole trillions of dollars from India or other places and so on, right?
Yes.
And so if you look around the world, there are some countries that are doing well, relatively speaking, and some countries that are not doing well. And because you believe everyone is the same, and you also believe that all wealth is transferred, never created, then you end up with a hatred of the successful countries.
No.
And
no.
Boy, you know that.
No, see, and that's the thing. He's trying to make it seem like people hate Britain for that thing that happened back then. No. No. You're just trying to build a victim narrative as a form of defense. How fucking cowardly is that shit?
That drives a lot of policy. It's a very sort of unconscious thing in a lot of ways. But I've talked about this on Twitter. If you just look at from 800 BC to 1950 AD, 95% of the scientific advancements in the world came from, you know, white Western males, of course.
No. Sorry. No. Nope. Sorry. Nope. Nope. No. That is That is hilariously and amazingly incorrect. No. No. And Sargon is somebody who's supposed to be a lover of history, is just going to be like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Go. Look, you can mark very specifically where all of the innovations in science happened throughout antiquity. And it's all in those places that were doing the best. Ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, Sumeria, moving into, some of the empires in China, moving up into like the Golden Age of Islam again. There were massive innovations happening over in South America, like during these empires. Empires breed innovation, and none of it has anything necessarily to do with the racial makeup of those countries, or even the religious makeup of those countries. They have everything to do with success. Simple as that. And the fact that England, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny little fucking country by comparison to the rest of the world, that has very limited resources, very limited natural riches that it can tap into, managed to become such a dominant force is largely because of the success they had in colonialism. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, there's a lot of atrocities that happen, but pointing that out, there's nothing wrong with pointing that out. There's nothing wrong with accepting that.
It's not all Christian because we're talking 800 BC and all that, but no whites, no modern world. Right now, that's just sort of a basic fact, and it's kind of tough for people to process that stuff. And there's a huge amount of resentment, rage, and anger, which is, I think, where a lot of this anti-white racism comes from, that peculiarly is called anti-racism. Yeah. So it is kind of like a funny thing, and the way that kind of translates is, if there are fewer whites, I think people kind of feel like, okay, well, they were exploiters and bad guys, and they stole from the third world and so on. This resentment kind of translates into a lot of cultural imperatives, which is,
you poor whites, man. Like, the thing is, I don't actually think these two people, I don't think Carl or Stefan actually believe any of this shit. I really don't. Stefan Molyneux is a crazy person, but he's also a very effective propagandist. And Carl is kind of an idiot at times, but he's not a complete fucking dumbass. This is all fucking propaganda. This is all, oh my god, we're so fucking oppressed. Our oppression Olympic points are out the fucking door because of how much people hate us because we're white. Dude, no. What the fuck?
I think anti-natalist in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a sort of very, very big picture answer, and it's obviously very unfair. I think all cultures, all ethnicities, all races should celebrate their heritage and criticize what is bad and enjoy and expand what is good and all that. But
sure,
it
fine, whatever.
Doesn't seem to be much of a universal phenomenon.
So the one of the major kickbacks I got was the idea that women have responsibilities. Do you believe that women might have some sort of responsibility?
Could you narrow that down just a smidge?
Well, fitting to their gender roles. The particular example I gave was men have responsibility to defend their countries. I think they do. I think that in time.
Why can't women defend their countries? Why not? I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Women actually have better hand-eye coordination, especially in things like rifle marksmanship. If you want to go into antiquity, archery, they just seem to be genetically better than men at that type of activity. So why then, can I ask, would you not want women fighting to defend their country? Is it because they're only for making babies?
Times of war, then men do have a responsibility to actually volunteer to defend the nation, as uncomfortable and as awful as that might be.
It is uncomfortable and it is awful.
The framing here puts men as the only gender that has any responsibility.
No.
Which, A, is not any kind of form of equality in my mind.
What the fuck?
It seems to be a product of essentially the current view of the left. That
wait. Okay, hang on. And I know what's coming. And I'm so fucking excited. I'm so excited because it's so fucking dumb. But keep in mind, the whole framing of this argument is that Carl is trying to make a case that there are requirements, not only just to be a citizen of your country, but also for the freedom that you would otherwise enjoy, and that the thing that men have to do, the only thing that men have to do to support their country, is to be ready to fight and die to defend it. Nothing else. Nothing else. Because it doesn't seem like women have anything that they have to do for their country. It's not like there are other things that you can do to help support your country. No, of course not. I couldn't think of one. I couldn't think of one thing that I could do. All right. Anyway, come on. Let's just.
There are no duties and responsibilities. There is nothing that you should do. You don't have to pay what you inherited forward. You can actually allow your civilization to end with you, as if this is a morally righteous thing to do. And I actually presented this to two leftists on a stream once. One of them was even a father as well. I said, look, do we have any kind of responsibility here to continue our own civilization? And they just shuffled their feet and looked down and go, well, I can't answer that. It's like,
I'll answer that. No. I'll answer that, Carl. No. Does anybody owe a country babies? No. They don't. They fucking don't. Are you fucking insane? Are you crazy? Have you actually lost your fucking mind? That maybe being a citizen of a country, you then owe that country your children? No! Here you are, the guy that's trying to be like the fucking individualist. First of all, you've already shit all over that in this string, saying that there's actually a duty to pay for your freedoms by making life choices that I think you should make that will irrevocably change your life for the rest of your life. You already shit on that. But now you think that I owe my genetic material, the choice of my lineage, to a country? Are you fucking crazy? I don't really know. There are some strong correlations I can draw between this kind of troubling and fucked up rhetoric that you're spouting and some things that you already categorically try and deny to be any part of. But you tread so close to these things, I have to start wondering if you have any self-reflection at all. Do I owe a country my fucking children? Eat my entire fucking ass, dude.
what kind of wild perspective must they have to think that actually, like you say, with and I agree with the way that you've framed their kind of hatred of the West there as well. Like they seem to have a kind of cultural guilt about being successful to the point where they can't even bring themselves to say, yes, our civilization is a good thing and we should continue it, even though one of them had by having children.
Right.
It was so bizarre.
We don't know if he's continuing traditional Western values or some sort of Marxist.
Whatever.
See, look, and even Molyneux, in this is like he can tell like this is not good. Like in this fucking conversation right here, Stefan Molyneux is even like trying to be like, well, we're talking about like values, not lineage. Even he is rejecting this, but I guess for the sake of like I don't know, camaraderie or some sort of weird fucking have to stick up for each other allegiance, he's probably gonna bypass it. But this is fucking crazy, dude.
Trap or something like that.
Yeah, but the civilization that provided him with what he has, he doesn't feel that he has an obligation to, pass that forward. And I really think that we should think about this because I'm not. I mean, obviously, demographic shifts are going to be inevitable if you have a declining population and mass immigration.
Demographic shifts. Wait. Which demographic are you talking about, Carl? You're trying to preserve the culture of a country. And by doing that, making sure people are breeding. Demographic shifts? What are you talking about there, kiddo? What what you talking about, Tiger?
But, I mean, we could solve mass immigration tomorrow by just closing our borders. And let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that we did. That's not going to solve the demographic crisis that is going to be the collapsing population numbers of our countries.
Really?
And I think it does come from the fact that, frankly...
Look at Molyneux. Molyneux is like, is he actually going to fucking say it? Is he actually going to fucking say this shit right now?
There is an assumption that women have no responsibility in this regard. I think men have a responsibility. Like, men, you know, it's a man's duty to get married and have children and provide for that family. But I think that the woman also does have an obligation there in some regard. If we don't think they do.
So women have an obligation to have children to try and push against the demographic shift in a country. Women have a responsibility to breed, to fight against the demographic shift in their country, to preserve the West, to preserve their culture.
Then, man, aren't we doomed to just go extinct?
Well, I'm going to wave the flag of false dichotomy there, that you have to accept the duty of having children or you go extinct. What I would say, or what I have said on Twitter and in a number of my call-ins, Carl, is something like this. Okay, so let's look at sort of these two poles, right? You got -10 on happiness.
He's dodging it. Molyneux is going to dodge it. Molyneux is literally going to dodge it. Okay. Now, think about what we just listened to Carl say, okay? I just want everybody who's live with me right now and everybody who's going to watch this in the future, because I'm definitely uploading this. This is fucking crazy. This is fucking nuts, dude. Okay. Think about what Carl just said. We need to inspire families, women, to have children so that they can fight against demographic shifts that would change the culture of their country, the West. How far away from that is we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children? How far is that? What's the distance between those two things? And I like, be charitable. Be as charitable as you possibly can, please. I want to know. I want to know how far are those two things? Is there a gap? Is it a big gap? Or is it, has it passed? Has it crossed? Like, because this is fucking crazy. Actually fucking crazy. And that's the whole point of why I wanted to watch this, to make sure that when I heard this before, I wasn't going crazy. Because I remember this. I remember this very specifically. And I started telling people, like, you got to understand, Sargon is like spouting off white Sharia. Like, this is some real shit. This is real shit. This is what he fucking believes now. The whole classical liberalism, gone. Individualism, gone. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit. He has totally fucking gone over the edge. And this is the perfect example of why. When Stefan Molyneux, a.k.a. People who are black are a different fucking subspecies from white, won't even agree with you and dodges it, you know you fucked up. Wow.